Hey there, friends. Happy Sunday. Just thinking about something. My writer friend Melissa just posted about not feeling so well on a Sunday because tomorrow is Monday and we should be going to a job. But the jobs have dried up, especially if you are in that ageism wave. And by the way, I've never, ever in my life been one to play the blame game. That's not my point here. But ageism is true. It happens. But the quicker we get to a so what, the better. So what? Yes, there is ageism. Meandering around about it is not helpful. And, we tell ourselves stories and then we believe the stories we tell ourselves. And some of these things have been going on for years, decades, a lifetime. And the quicker that we can see what is versus what we want it to be, and to pivot. We're not really that great at pivoting. No one teaches us that. And we're so stuck in it's not working. And I use the word impermanence a lot. And a couple of years ago, I don't even know if I knew what that word meant. But it seems to show up all the time post 60. High school friends are passing, relationships stop, jobs stop, career stops. And many of those things are what we used to define ourselves. And that's okay, I guess. I think in the first half of life, Richard Rohr is a fantastic writer. He's a Frangelican priest, I believe. I don't know if I said that right. But anyway, he talks about the first half of life and the second half of life. And the first half of life is just really being in the game and doing all the things you do and build your career, your family, all that. But the second half of life should be more about, drop the worry. Have you ever noticed that for the most part, the universe takes care of us? We are taken care of. I'm not suggesting we can lay down on the couch, eat bonbons all day, and be okay. But I do believe that there are other things we can do. People talk about reinvent yourself, a bunch of yak words, but figure out what you want to do. And I've always been more of a self-employed entrepreneur, business, some sort of a business. And I've started and done 12 to 15 different businesses in my life. Most weren't all that successful, but a couple were. And enough to, certainly enough to get me to my mid-60s. And I've also started a few things post-retirement in 2021. But I noticed in my own life that any other time I was having some transition, another opportunity just dropped in. I really didn't even have to do much. Maybe I was lucky. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, those Sunday feels are real. I remember those from all the working days. I was always worried about, running out of money, trying to solve this problem or that problem. And, later in life, maybe that's not what we're supposed to do. I ran into a fellow, a very successful business guy. I ran into him at my grandson's basketball camp. earlier in the summer, and I was talking to him. I'm like, "How you doing?" He says like, "Awful." I'm like, "Oh, geez, what's going on?" And he said, "I just want to go back to work." This fellow's in his mid-70s. He said, "I just want to go back to work. That's what I like to do. I like to work." I'm like, "Well, why don't you go back to work?" "Well, I've had 2 strokes." Okay. Maybe the universe is telling you should do something else. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that if we don't get the message, it appears that maybe the universe sends a stronger message until we do get it. Well, anyway, hope you've enjoyed this, and there's going to be more to come. Melissa and I are actually writing a book about impermanence and about just aging, right? Melissa used to work. She didn't work for us, but she wrote for us, an online magazine we had, and she's also published a couple novels. She's a really good writer. Check her out over on Facebook and Instagram. She's funny and real, and she just has a nice flow to her writing. Anyway, talk to you all soon. Ciao.